Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another new edition of Today's Youth. And today we will be talking about the International Day of Peace, and we will be also talking about inner peace. We will be meeting with an expert in inner peace and peace coaching right after this short break. The International Day of Peace, sometimes unofficially known as World Peace Day, is observed annually on September 21st. It's dedicated to world peace and specifically the absence of war and violence. To inaugurate the day, the United Nations Peace Bell is rung at United Nations headquarters in New York. The bell is cast from coins donated by children from different continents and was a gift from the UN Association of Japan as a reminder of the human cost of war. The inscription on its side reads, "Long live absolute world peace." Inner peace, or peace of mind, refers to a state of being mentally and spiritually at peace with enough knowledge and understanding to keep oneself strong in the face of discord or distress. Peace of mind, serenity, and calmness are descriptions of a disposition free from the effects of stress. In some cultures, inner peace is considered a state of consciousness and may be cultivated by various forms of training such as prayer, meditation, Tai Chi, or yoga. Our guest today is an established lifestyle consultant and coach. Her broad understanding of human experience is an outcome of collective and diverse knowledge she gained through her personal journey. An enthusiast and advocate for women empowerment, peace, and equality, Sandra is passionate about inspiring people on how to take charge of their lives and to be happy by tapping into their full potential. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're glad to be joined today by Miss Sandra Shama Kaur. Actually, she is a peace coach and inner peace coach more.
Well, I like to think of lifestyle more.
Right.
And inner peace definitely goes into lifestyle. Yes.
Right. I would like you to tell me about yourself, Sandra, and we'll start, of course, by telling me why did you get the name Sandra Shama Kaur. Before the air, you just told me that this is an acquired name.
Sure.
It's not your original name. Would you tell me more about this?
Yes, Naveen. I was telling you about the spiritual name, right?
Right.
So when I started being more into the path of yoga and meditation, I acquired the name Shama Kaur, which means the one who shines the light of her inner soul.
So this is a spiritual name. Shama Kaur is a spiritual name.
It's a spiritual name, and it's connected to your date of birth. And I've been studying numerology now and actually using numbers to understand you more, your talents, your skills, is something that's part of my of when I coach people in lifestyles.
Right. Sandra, would you tell me more about your education? I understand that you studied business administration, right? And tell me, how did you move from studying business administration to being an inner peace coach?
Yes, well, you know, I started off just like many young people around the world, looking up to my father. He was a great businessman, and I thought, well, maybe I need to do what he's doing, you know. So I went to McGill University, I studied business there, and I did a master's degree as well. And I started working in research consultancy, business development. It was just, it seemed right, you know, it seemed what everyone else was doing. And then my mom got sick, so I moved back from Canada to Egypt to be with her. And I started a new career actually at the AUC, and I worked mainly with youth. We developed youth training programs to really empower youth on how to become great leaders in today's world.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Sandra, we have with us over the phone, we have with us Nivert. Nivert, she's on Skype actually, and we're going to be seeing her here. Hello, Nivert.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? I understand, Nivert, that you've been through this experience with Sandra as a life coach. Would you tell me more about your experience? I would like you to share your experience with us.
Yes, I do. My experience goes back, in fact, 3 years ago when I used to move from Alexandria and live to Cairo. And the problem is my life in Alexandria was like a fairy tale story. So it was very calm, very peaceful. And I was, just to tell you, I was like living in by the Corniche in Alexandria. And I was working at the French consulate, which was a beautiful building facing the Corniche, and I had a beautiful garden with a dog, with relationships between people that are really charming and very warm. And suddenly I moved to Cairo, and I was faced with a stressful daily life there, and the professional environment was completely different and challenging, and I was like facing failure after failure, personal and professional challenges, and I was like accumulating stress and frustration and blah blah blah, and I was like kind of lost in life, and I was like asking myself questions: why am I here? Why am I living with all these struggles and stress and all these things? So
Right.
I decided to. So
Go
I
ahead.
decided to. Yes, I decided to calm down a little bit, and I was like thinking, what shall I do? And because I used to know Shama Kaur from my work, so I called her. Yes, Shama, I feel I'm a little bit stressed. She told me, yes, let's try to do some meditation and some yoga together, and she invited me to her center. And I started practicing some yoga with her, and I found it's okay, it is nice. But I didn't find myself like amused, or I found something, it's okay, it's cool, that's calming me down a little bit. And bit by bit, because Sandra is a very sweet person, very sweetheart person, she was like asking me from time to time, how do you feel, how was the session, do you have a good impact? And I was like finding her a very nice person, so I kept going to her yoga school. And bit by bit, I started realizing there is something that is changing with me, that I was escaping from all the challenges in yoga.
Right.
And it was the time you're taking for yourself to think and to calm down and to escape all the mess we have around. And I started noticing the change by losing weight, by having a radiant skin, and my surrounding was like telling me there is something that is different with you. So,
Right. Sandra, this is a very interesting experience, actually. Go ahead.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So it was like I found myself like attracted into a parallel world that is really like charming. It doesn't differ than the fairy tale stories that I'm coming from. That I was like yoga. It's like a parallel world. It's a beautiful parallel world. It is taking you away from all the mess we're living in. So I started to become addicted to yoga. And the fact that I am living actually in Cairo, and I think by the end of this year I will be resettled. I will settle again in Alexandria. I told Sandra it is like a magic. Yoga is like Kundalini yoga, especially. It's like magic. I felt a huge difference. I told her I want to take this technology back to my city and to transfer all these beautiful things to my friends and beloved ones. And she encouraged, and currently she encouraged me to take the teacher's training, which I am going to start next November, and to become a yoga teacher, and to start to transfer this beautiful thing to my friends in here in Alexandria.
Right. Sandra, I would just like to ask you, what would you tell youth your age, today's youth, how can they cope with all the stresses of life? As you see, of course, our life is full of stresses. What would you tell a youth your age how to cope with stress?
Well,
Sandra, did you hear my question? No.
Me? You're asking me or Sandra?
Yes, I'm asking you.
Yes.
Right. Nivert, I would like you to tell me, how would you what would you tell the youth your age how to cope with all the stresses of life that we are dealing with these days?
What worked with me was meditation, actually. And the meditation and yoga, it's a very peaceful practice. and it is always telling you to have peace with yourself first, and when you have peace of yourself, we will be able to forgive and to be tolerant with everyone. We have to notice that everyone is different, and we're not similar in Earth, so everybody has different characters, and we have to notice this, and we have to take distance between ourselves and all the stresses around. So this is, yes.
Right. Sandra would also maybe, you would like to ask Nivert any questions?
Well, I would have to ask about your changes in eating habits. How did that happen? What do you feel that has been different for you in your body, and how have your eating habits changed, and to what?
Yes, it's one of the question I have asked myself, why do we live here and on Earth? So I discovered that we're living on Earth to enjoy the beauty of God, the mountains, the seas, the greenery and everything. And in order to enjoy, you have to have a clear mind and a healthy body. So yoga is a bit, especially the Kundalini yoga is a bit challenging activity. So I started to feel that in order to enjoy yoga and to be like light person, to enjoy the posture and have a clear mind, we have to be, our body has to be light as well.
Right, Nivert, I would like to thank you very much for your input, and we would like to meet with you maybe once again here at the studio. Thank you very much, Nivert, and back to you, Sandra. Let's continue our discussion. Of course, it seems that Nivert had a very good experience with you. What would you like to comment on what she just said?
Well, I think I was just going to go back to what you were saying about stress and how to support the youth in their daily stress, because that's something huge that we all feel on a day-to-day basis. And I think that, you know, on a physical level, it's very clear what needs to be done. Usually stress means a lack of oxygen supply to the brain, and that's why breathing exercises work. And then also I think that one of the challenges is that we become we complain a lot about everything that is not working in the outside world. And inner peace is about being okay, even when everything outside of me is not working. Maybe I'm applying for scholarships and I'm getting rejected, or universities, or not finding the right job, or Cairo traffic. There's just so much stress, things that I want that I'm not getting. And cultivate, and basically what I was going to invite the youth to do is to just for a moment close their eyes and imagine they had this, you know, magic wand, and they could just wave it around and have everything that they didn't like and that's not working work, you know. And then after that, just ask themselves really deeply, what would be the result of that? You know, if everything that I see not working right now works with this magic wand, who would that make me today? What would I be doing with my time? What would I dress? Where would I live? Who would be my friends? You know, and then to draw that into this beautiful picture, or write it and leave it in their room, and go back to it once a week, once a day. And over time, that vision will manifest in their real lives.
Right. Sandra, would you tell me more about women empowerment? You've just told me before the air that you've worked a lot with women, and you're working on women empowerment. Would you tell me more about that?
Thank you so much, Naveen. That's something that I'm very passionate about. And it's because of my mother, you know. My mother was this really beautiful, fun, joyful being, very funny, very athletic. And she came from a, you know, good family, good background. She had a husband. She really basically had pretty much everything that you would need. But somewhere deep within, I felt her unhappiness, you know. She was always looking for something else. Change my hairstyle, buy more clothes, travel more, always something new, do plastic surgery, whatever it is, something new, something new. And that chasing after one thing over the other, for me, I became more sensitive that means there's a gap deep within that she was trying to fill. And looking around, it's the same story with so many women, right?
And did you reach the problem? I mean, were you able to reach the problem?
I was really young back then, right?
Right.
I was in my early 20s, and she passed away with cancer, right? And,
Sorry for that.
yeah, it's okay. But, you know, I did try. I remember I would bring her CDs and tell her, let's listen to these affirmations, you know, and let's color. And she would always say, that stuff is for kids, you know, like I'm an old grown woman. I don't need to be doing that stuff.
Right.
And the tools that I was offering were very lighthearted, like let's color, let's dance, let's sing, you know. And I think that this is exactly what I do with women today, is remind them of that inner child within, so that they can bring out their creativity, become more aware of their unique talents and skills, and then use them. So think of a butterfly, right? It's first a caterpillar, and then it transforms into a butterfly. So when we are able to use our own talents, our own skills, and bring them up to the surface, we transform into this beautiful butterfly. And it could be, you know, it could be like someone who loves decorating things and they start decorating cakes, or someone who loves using candles and they make like a candle business, or feeding people who are hungry because they love cooking. I mean, you know, the list is endless. And the idea is to empower the woman to go deep within herself, to figure out her own uniqueness and bring it out and create something that's good for her and benefits everyone around her.
Right. Sandra, how would you inspire a woman to take command of her life and to develop herself to success, to more success or happiness? How would you help a woman if a woman comes to you and tell you she's very unhappy?
The first thing that I do is ask a lot of questions and listen a lot. And women are fantastic creatures, because most of the time women just want to talk, and process. Many women, when they ask questions, they are waiting for you to give them advice, and that's what I don't do, right? I actually give time for them to process and talk, and sooner or later the answer comes out within them. However, most of the women I meet, they have so many thoughts and so many fears that they need a tool to help them become more relaxed. So maybe I offer a breath exercise, or a walking exercise, or a drawing or coloring, or even writing exercise, so they can kind of get out all of their thoughts, all of their emotions, and then after that happens a few times, we're able to dig more deeply into their own passion.
Right. Also related to this, I would like you to tell me more about the tools that any person can use to transform his life to a better life, to more happiness.
Well, I think it's really important to know that happiness is about being okay even when we're not getting what we want, right?
Right.
And that is exactly why we use.
So it all has to do with satisfaction.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's a state of, you know, it's a very neutral state. It's not like, oh, I'm so happy here because I just got this brand new car, or this, you know, and then one day I'm down because, oh, I had a car accident. You know what I mean? It's just this like very neutral state. And there are many tools. Definitely moving the body, right? So whether it's shaking, dancing, exercising, walking, and creative arts, you know, writing poetry, journal writing, coloring. I do mandala drawing these days. It's really beautiful. It's completely healing for the mind. Walking out in nature, walking barefoot, cooking, visualization exercises, and then there's a lot of alternative things like alternative energy work, like crystal healing, Reiki, pranic healing, all kinds of, you know, alternative things that come up.
Right. Through your experience with the youth, with the different women, of course, in Egypt, did you ever meet someone who told you, I'm happy, or I'm satisfied?
That never happens.
It never happens.
Yes.
Which means that people never reach the stage of satisfaction or happiness or utmost happiness.
Yes. What I hear a lot is alhamdulillah, you know, alhamdulillah, which is, you know, it's all good, you know.
Which is maybe, it's still a sort of satisfaction.
Yes, that's true. And then when I ask more questions, it's usually more of a covering, right? Covering of something. And then when we go deeper into more questions and figure out, right, so what is the issue? What usually happens is there's a lot of complaints about, he said, she did, this happened, right? It's like pointing the finger about things that are happening outside of me that I'm not happy with. But But happiness really happens when we go deep within ourselves and we're able to bring out our own acceptance with what's happening outside and have that state of inner peace and become so creative.
Right. Sandra, how did life coaching reflect on your own self? I want to know your own experience.
Yes. Well, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I started a business at a pretty young age. I think I was 24, 25 when I started the center. And what I noticed is that I noticed what my biggest fear was. And my biggest fear is fear of failure. And I actually, for many, many years, thought that I was failing because my business wasn't as big as my father's, you know, like I don't have 3,000 employees and I don't make like this much money, right? And this whole time I was measuring my own success on my father's success. And being life coach and going deep within myself, I was aware that, wait a second, that's his measure. And my measure is something totally different.
Right, Sandra, Shama, Kaur, thank you very much for your input, and it was really very beneficial to know more about your experience and your coaching to other people. And of course, we learned a lot through the experience of Nevert. So many thanks for being with us, and I wish you all the best. We wish to meet with you once again in another episode also. Thank you very much, Sandra. And I would like also to thank all our team with us here, our director, Ayman Adib, and Wael, and Ahmed, and Wael Mahran, of course, and Ahmed Ismail, all our team here. Thank you very much for this new experience, and all the team. Thank you very much for joining us. And here from Studio 35, thank you very much for joining us. And till next week, same time, it's goodbye.